Why is Goblin Piledriver never sad? Because he has protection from the blues.
This video is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. If you're looking for cards in the US, look no further, as you can use the promo code MTGMudsta to get you 5% off anything on the site. Or if you're in Canada like me, you can use the same promo code at Multizone to get 10% off your orders of singles. If cards aren't what you're looking for, Original Magic Art has playmats, tokens, and sweet art that you can use that same promo code to help you get 5% off your order there. And if you just want to help out the channel, you can always consider becoming a patron for as little as $1 a month and join the generic Goblin Gang. Hey gang, and welcome back. As I've started to do, I should warn you all that this game has people playing lands in front, so if that's upsetting to you, you might want to consider taking a pause and watching the next episode. Today's game was filmed at Kessel Run Games in Ottawa, and I'm playing Titania. I keep Elvish Reclaimer, Scapeshift, Windswept Heath, Ballyged Recovery, Cultivate, and the Snow-Covered Forest. Shane is playing Koma, Cosmo Serpent, and keeps a Vine Glimmer Snarl, an Island, a Flooded Grove, a Forest, Swiftfoot Boots, Double Major, and Sylvan Library. Ben is playing Orvar the Allform, keeping Shimmering Mirage, Island, Slip Through, Narumeha Master Wizard, High Tide, and Cryptic Command. New Shane is playing K'rrik, Son of Yawgmoth, keeping a Dark Ritual, Barren Moor, 2 Swamps, Defile, Ransack the Lab, and Curse of Fool's Wisdom. Shane wins the die roll and starts us off. He draws and plays a tapped Vine Glimmer Snarl, passing to Ben. Ben just plays an Island. New Shane plays a tapped Crypt of Agadeem and passes to me. I play a Misty Rainforest and crack it, losing 1 for a Snow-Covered Forest. I then cast Elvish Reclaimer, passing. Shane draws and plays a Flooded Grove, and then taps 2 for Sylvan Library. Ben draws and plays an Island, passing. New Shane plays a Swamp and casts Ransack the Lab. My turn has me playing Inventor's Fair, and I cast Soul Ring and have enough mana for a Cultivate. I then swing the Reclaimer at Shane for 1 and pass turn. Shane draws off the Sylvan Library and pays 4 life to keep an extra card. He then plays an Island and casts 3 visits to go and find Tropical Island. Once that's done and he's finished shuffling, he casts Swiftfoot Boots. Ben just draws, plays an Island, and passes to New Shane. New Shane plays a Swamp in his main phase and casts a Basilica Screecher. He then cycles a Barren Moor to draw a card and passes to me. My turn has me drawing, and I get to cast Titania thanks to the Soul Ring, who enters and brings back the Misty Rainforest. I then play a Windswept Heath and go to combat, swinging the Reclaimer at Ben for 1. Shane takes another 4 from his library trigger, keeping an extra card, and plays a Forest and passes to Ben. Ben draws, and then casts Slip Through Space on my Elvish Reclaimer to make it unblockable, but more importantly, draw him a card. He then plays an Island and passes to New Shane. New Shane plays a Cabal Coffers and taps 1 black for a Dark Ritual. He uses this mana, plus paying 6 life to the Phyrexian mana cost, to cast his commander K'rrik. Ben responds to this with an Essence Capture and counters it. Once Ben passes priority, Original Shane uses Rapid Hybridization to take out Titania. With the target on the stack, I respond by cracking my 2 fetch lands, losing 2 and going to find 2 Snow-Covered Forests, and more importantly, making 2 5/3 elemental tokens. With nothing else, New Shane passes. I draw and play a Snow-Covered Forest. I cast a Woodland Bellower, which Shane counters with an Arcane Denial. After it gets countered, I move to combat and swing at Shane for 11 and then pass turn. Shane and I draw from the Arcane Denial on his upkeep, and Shane also draws from the Sylvan Library but doesn't pay any extra life to keep any extra cards. He moves to his main phase and casts a Kadama's Reach. And at the same time follows up with the Nature's Lore to ramp really hard and then passes to Ben. Ben's main phase has him casting a Thran Dynamo and just passing to New Shane. New Shane draws and plays a Font of Agonies and extorts it, draining us for 1 and gaining 3. I play a Snow-Covered Forest and go to combat. I swing both elemental tokens at Shane, dealing 10. In my second main phase, I cast Titania, which Shane unfortunately counters with a Force of Will, losing 1 and exiling a card. I then pass turn. Shane draws and loses another 4 life into his Sylvan Library to keep an extra card. He plays a Forest, and then casts Soul Ring, and then casts Koma. With his commander on the stack, he copies it with Double Major, making another copy that isn't legendary. He then equips the Swiftfoot Boots to the real Koma, and passes turn. On Ben's upkeep, Shane gets to make 2 Tentacle tokens, and Ben then draws and plays an island. He casts Orvar in his main phase, and passes. New Shane's upkeep has original Shane making 2 more Tentacle tokens, and New Shane then plays a Swamp. He casts a Magus of the Coffers, and passes turn. On his end step, I activate the Elvish Reclaimer to sacrifice a forest to go and find Dark Depths and put some counters onto it. I draw, play Snow-Covered Forest, and with nothing else, pass. Shane casts Sakashima the Imposter in his main phase, which thankfully Ben counters with a Cryptic Command, and also bounces the Koma copy to his hand. Moving to combat, original Shane swings at New Shane for 18 with Serpents, and passes turn. Ben draws and plays an island. He casts a High Tide, and then follows up with Shimmering Mirage to make a copy of the island, as well as an Artificial Evolution to make another copy of an island. He then plays Treasure Cruise, and holding priority, casts Nerumeha to copy it. Once that's done, he casts a Great Whale to untap 7 lands, and then a Peregrine Drake to net even more mana. He's not done though, following up with a Palinchron to make infinite mana at this point. And he drops Teferi Mage of Zalfir, as well as an Agent of Treachery. With the agent coming in, he gets to steal Shane's boots, which he then equips to the agent. He then uses Trait Doctrine to make a token copy of the agent, and ciphers the spell into the Palinchron. The second copy this time around steals Koma, and Ben then moves the boots to Palinchron, and swings it at me. In response, I activate my Elvish Reclaimer to grab a Glacial Chasm, to prevent the damage, and therefore the cipher trigger. Ben then moves the boots back onto the agent after combat, and passes turn. New Shane draws and recasts K'rrik, taking 4 from the Phyrexian mana cost this time, and extorts it as well, draining us each for 1 and gaining 3. With nothing else, he passes. I pay 2 life for the Glacial Chasm upkeep cost, and draw for turn. I play a Snow-Covered Forest, and then cast Splendid Reclamation to get a bunch of lands back, and pass turn. On Ben's upkeep, he's a little sad that he's not the one getting Serpent tokens, and Ben puts one onto the field, and Shane then draws and casts a Talisman of Curiosity. He moves to combat, and swings everything he can at New Shane, which is lethal, and passes turn. Ben draws and goes straight to combat. He swings the Palinchron at Shane to deal 4 damage, but more importantly, cast Trait Doctrine again and make another copy of the Agent of Treachery, this time stealing my Elvish Reclaimer. In response, I activate it to grab a Thespian Stage, after sacrificing a forest. Once that's done, Ben passes. I take 4 off the Glacial Chasm this time around, and draw. I cast Bala Ged Recovery to bring back Woodland Bellower, and cast it, and go to my library to grab Tireless Provisioner. I then crack my fetches as well to save some time, and I pass turn. Ben draws and activates the Elvish Reclaimer that he stole to grab a Riptide Laboratory. He then casts Hidden String to untap his agent and tap my Thespian Stage, with the agent copy stealing my Dark Depths. He then ciphers the strings onto Palinchron and swings again, but deals no damage and passes turn. On my upkeep, I lose 6 life to Glacial Chasm and draw for turn. I have nothing to do but pass, with Ben paying to remove 2 counters from Dark Depths. Ben draws and activates Elvish Reclaimer to go and grab a Swarm Yard. He then casts an Augur of Bolus and reveals Sublime Epiphany. He casts it, choosing to make a copy of Nerumeha and force me to draw a card, and Orvar lets him make a token copy of Nerumeha, and this lets him target and copy the Sublime Epiphany. This allows him to loop over and over again and forces me to draw out my library, which will win Ben the game. Game review time. Considering how many counterspells there were this game, I'm surprised more weren't directed at Ben. Orvar for me is a pretty scary commander, second probably only to Koma in this game, but even still it seemed like he went pretty much unhindered the entire time. New Shane unfortunately was a threat to Old Shane, because Old Shane had gotten himself so low in life that basically even 1 or 2 extorts meant almost lethal. As a result of this, I do understand why the tentacles/serpents went at him, but unfortunately I think they probably would have been better suited sending them at Ben. Koma for me is a very problematic commander in that it protects itself so very well and gets it so much value on everyone else's upkeep, not just your own. It forces you to have unconventional ways of dealing with it, especially if you have something like Swiftfoot Boots or Lightning Greaves attached to it where you can't even use targeted removal. I think my sequencing was a bit off in this game and I missed a couple tokens at certain points. I probably shouldn't have gotten treasure tokens with the Tireless Provisioner, and instead gone for clue tokens to at least get me some draws to hopefully find an answer. This video wouldn't be possible without the help from my sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc., Multizone, Original Magic Art, and Alter Sleeves. But it definitely wouldn't be possible without the help from you, the viewers, and my patrons. So I just want to say thank you for watching, and to remember, friends are just opponents you haven't eliminated yet.